So there are people who say, yes, you have to indict him because he has in fact broken the laws, and there are other people who say this is going to turn him into a martyr. This is his path through redemption.
Sure.
How do you think about it?
Oh, the law should always take into account someone's popularity. I think that's. I mean, what's happened to our country? It's as though you can't even commit financial fraud anymore.
Oh, that's gotta hurt!
There are very few capable of surgically breaking down the current state of US politics the way that Jon Stewart does. And the reason he's so good at it is he exposes the absurdity through humour. Some even say a certain Meidas contributor is reminiscent of a younger, gingerer Scottish Jon Stewart. Nobody says that. I say that and hope that it catches on. Anyway, the satirical genius appeared on CNN over the weekend, and while there were several areas touched upon, my favourite is his response to the horror of a white-collar criminal being held accountable.
So there are people who say, yes, you have to indict him because he has in fact broken the laws, and there are other people who say this is going to turn him into a martyr. This is his path through redemption.
Sure.
How do you think about it?
Oh, the law should always take into account someone's popularity. I think that's. I mean, what's happened to our country? It's as though you can't even commit financial fraud anymore. You can't inflate the value of your properties when you need a loan and then deflate it with taxes. I mean, the next thing you know, they're going to send you to jail instead of your lawyer and your accountant and your campaign manager and everyone else around you. The idea that someone may face accountability who's that rich and powerful is outrageous, and this country shouldn't stand for it.
But what if it turns out to be his get out of jail free pass? It's his path to, people will see him as a martyr.
Okay.
You're okay with that? He could become president again.
He could become president anyway. Fareed, we either have the rule of law or we have no rule of law. The rule of law does not take into account if that might make you a martyr to somebody. I'd much rather.
But he does go on to explore something beneath the surface level viral Trump hit. He discusses at length not only why Republicans wage culture wars on things like CRT and diversity programs under the pretense of being anti-woke.
But before they claim that this is not about banning books and not about harming the LGBT community, let's just look at the impacts of similar Republican legislation that has already passed on the state level. Look at these books that have already been banned due to Republican measures. The Life of Rosa Parks.
But he discusses why these things arise in the first place.
All this diversity initiatives and CRT and all those other things are only there because we refuse to actually fix the real problem. The diversity and equity initiatives are a salve. They're to pacify and mollify because we won't actually do the real thing. We won't actually dismantle the vestiges of all the systemic racism and all the systemic classism and all the systemic gender issues. We won't actually dismantle that. But what we will do is, you can have an office in the building, and every few months, we're going to have to sit and listen to you talk for like an hour. And so we're good, right? Like, it's a country that won't face the real. I'll explain it like the NFL, right? You know the Rooney Rule? The Rooney Rule in the NFL is, because there are so few African American coaches, you have to at least interview like one of them. So that's the rule now. It's the thing you put in place instead of looking at the owner's box and realizing, oh, right, that's just the legacy of the economic segregation that's been in our country since its founding. So we're never going to deal with that. So here's what we are going to do. A diversity and equity initiative, we're going to have to talk to one black guy. So are we good? I think we're good. But that's what I'm trying to say is, the thing that they're pointing at is the thing that's in place because we won't do the actual thing.
And before anyone dares retort with, well, what systems is he referring to? I'll recall another clip in which someone stupidly asked Jon Stewart that very same question.
And so for you to just say this is a magnificent place that doesn't have racism is actually, I think, more of a foundational lie than anything else. Yeah. Would your argument be that you don't believe that that's purposeful or that it doesn't exist?
I don't believe it exists.
Okay.
I don't know what these systems are.
Okay, so
give me one system.
All right, redlining neighborhoods.
Capitalism?
No, redlining neighborhoods.
That was a state-enforced thing from Jim Crow, which is the one point at which I think absolutely is true.
So you just said it doesn't exist, except for that.
Because he's right, these initiatives are not born out of thin air. They're born out of an inability to deal with the ripple effects of this country's history and the decisions that led us here in the first place.
We have an incredible diversity. To condemn all American history as racist.
I disagree that they're generalizing all white people. The systems that were racist that were put in place.
Systems?
Yes, the systems that were put in place.
I'd like you to explain exactly what they are.
Well, I thought I explained it earlier about the GI Bill and about the New Deal.
That's one thing. I want to know about these systems.
I just explained it. Housing.
That's
food.
one, and I've agreed that.
Andrew, you're not living on the same fucking planet we are.
The best part of waking up? MAGA tears in my cup. Check out the new MAGA tears mug available now at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com. It's 100% union made right here in the USA. I know I'm not tired of winning yet. How about you? Get yours today.